You get ready to say something? I'm sorry.
Thank you guys for coming out. Remember, just like a normal press conference, we do have microphones, so raise your hand and we'll recognize you and bring you the microphone. And then Coach will start with an opening statement.
My opening statement will be, can I get that water, please? Thank you. Good morning. Training camp has been going really well for us. It's been fun being around the guys. It's been really exciting watching these guys get better each and every day. And we had a good 2 weeks of bonding with each other, players and coaches, and also improving from a football standpoint. And been really impressed with our guys, the way they come to work every single day, and really haven't had to motivate them to do anything. I told them from the beginning that they had to embrace the suck, and I think they're embracing it.
All right, question. Start with Tyler down here.
Can you expound on that last comment, embracing the suck?
Yeah, as you get into the dog days of camp, it sucks. You know, you get up doing the same thing every day and trying to get better. Being through it and you're out in the hot sun, and it's like, golly, can we just play? You know, but you got to embrace it. That's that time to get better, you know, rather than looking at it as a negative. Trying to make it a positive. Just embrace it, embrace being with your teammates, enjoying each other, and enjoy competing.
Coach, I wondered about the scrimmage yesterday, how that went and what you were trying to achieve there.
We had a really good scrimmage yesterday. We had a situational scrimmage to where we put our guys in different situations and seeing how they operate in it. And it's a competitive situation, and where the offense or the defense win. And it was pretty good. You know, we had one situation where we start from the 35-yard line and offense gets whatever it scores, and if defense get a 3 and out or stop them on down, they get so many points. And so, and then we moved the ball down to the plus 40, and then we moved it to the red zone, the 10-yard line, the 5-yard line, end of the game, 1 minute and 20 seconds, one timeout, offense down by 5. Just different situations, and it went well. It went probably better for the offense yesterday than it was for the defense, and but that was the first throughout training camp, you know. So it's going to be really exciting to see how our defense bounce back tomorrow at practice.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
How are you ready to name a quarterback starter? And if not, how close are you to doing that?
Nope, I'm not. And how close? Closer than we were the first day we started training camp. So we're getting there. Again, had a good scrimmage yesterday. Some guys played better than others, you know, but I thought they all did some good things. There was no turnovers, which is always great when you take care of the football, you know. So guys are still working. Again, it's a good situational scrimmage, and next week we'll have a kind of like a full game scrimmage, so that'll be good as well.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, just to expound on that, I'm just wondering, can you name the guy that maybe had a better scrimmage yesterday? And I'm just wondering if you could just talk about the development of each quarterback that you've seen. Really, that's really my question, the development of each quarterback throughout this camp.
Well, I think you can see where Bailey Hockman and James Blackman, from a great understanding of what we're doing, they're probably a little ahead of Francois. From that standpoint, they're doing some things and getting better at what we did in the spring, and it's been really good because it's starting to click for those guys and making the plays. And then just DeAndre is pretty cool to see that him out there and making the plays that he's making, and he just came back in training camp, and which tell you he's been putting in a lot of work too, and that's paying off for him as well. So they all are making plays, and I think more importantly they have some receivers to help them make plays out there too. Our young guys are making some good plays at the receiver position, which always going to help a quarterback. I hope that answered your question. I don't know if I did or not, but they're all getting better.
Coach, I feel like traditionally most teams this early in the season, the defense is ahead of the offense, so that kind of catch you by surprise that the offense was better performing. And you're the offensive guy, so does that make you feel better?
No, I think we're pretty much how it's been. I mean, like I say, that was the first to where offense really got on defense yesterday. You know, that was the first throughout training camp. I think throughout the whole training camp, defense probably had an advantage. And but yesterday, the tables turned a little bit. But it was, again, it was one of those a good teaching moment for our defense. And they got to come ready to play every week. Can't take a day off. And like I said, I'm excited to see how they bounce back in tomorrow's practice. That's going to be the key, is how they bounce back from after performing the way they did.
Coach, can you elaborate on the mantra on the front of the media guide, do something? What exactly does that mean?
I mean, if you want something, you got to do something in order to get it. You know, it's kind of we live in a do something world. Everything you want, you got to go out and make it happen. And so it's always go back to not making any excuses or blaming anyone for you not having success or not getting the things that you want in life. You got to go out and do something. You got to work at it. You got to make it happen. If you want it, it's not going to happen. I don't care what it is. It's football. If it's want to be a starter, if it's being a car dealership, I don't care whatever profession you're in. You got to do something. You know, that's just the world we live in, and so that's the model. That's always been my model. And,
In that vein, since DeAndre got into the trouble, what has he done? What is he doing? What sort of something has he done to sort of get back in your good graces?
I don't think necessarily it's in my good grace. It was in his football team good grace. You know, it's in all of ours. It's not just mine. And what he's done so far, he's volunteered to move back on campus and be around his teammates a lot more. That was something he wanted to do. He wanted to be around his teammates more, which I think he realized and understand the more he's around those guys, the better things will be for him. You know, a lot of it is just who you surround yourself with. And I think he understood that, and he's been around those guys. He's been happy. They've been happy, and it's been fun to see how they all been meshing together. So, and he's doing well in the classroom too.
Did you suggest that when you?
No, I just mentioned he suggested that he move back on campus and be with his teammates.
Hey, Coach, have you started working at all on Virginia Tech stuff? And what is your does having a game like that right at the beginning give kids more to look forward to, or do you get a little bit concerned about maybe having that tough a game right off the bat?
Well, we started on Virginia Tech back in the spring, you know, so and we'll start more tomorrow and every day leading up until we play them. I think being the first game, again, you never know what to expect. What I'm trying to do with our football team is get us to where it doesn't matter who we're playing. I mean, I think it's hard to win. I don't care who you're playing. It's hard to win a football game, and I want our guys to understand it doesn't matter who we're playing. It's the way we play, and can we go out and perform and be at our best, and that's what's going to be the key for us, no matter who we're playing. And understanding, yeah, you got a quality opponent ahead of you, going to be well coached, but we got them at home. It's big time college football. You got to come ready to play every single week.
You know, we and the fans are going to parse every word you say about the quarterbacks. Could you speak a little bit more about Bailey and James and the lead they have mentally over DeAndre, and whether or not that's a lead that he can or can't overcome in camp?
No, it's just those guys have more reps than DeAndre. So the more reps you get, the better you get at things. You know, so those guys probably have a better understanding of certain things because they had more reps doing it. You know, but like I said, it's been really good to see DeAndre. You know, it's not like he's that far back. I mean, he hadn't had those reps, and he's still able to come out and execute our offense, which tells me he's been working on some things. And again, I can remember in the spring when he wasn't in there at quarterback, he was behind the quarterbacks going through all the operation of the quarterback, which I think is helping pay off for him and catching up from an understanding of what we're doing standpoint. So I think they got an advantage because they had more reps, and they're getting better because of those reps.
Hey, Willie, you knew when you got here or soon after that you had a pretty darn good group of running backs. Now that you've obviously been through spring and this part of fall, just how special is that group?
They're very special. You know, each and every last one of those guys is cool when you can put a guy in there. You don't have to change up anything. You know, you don't have to deviate from what you're doing offensively. Any one of those guys can go in there and get the job done for us. And it's cool to see how close they are, you know, and those guys are trying to make it where it's just a standard of playing running back here at Florida State University, and no matter which guy's in there, their expectation is the same from those guys, and again, that's great to have. You can never have enough running backs, and we have some really good ones. You know, we just got to find different ways to get them the ball.
Willie, what do you know about Harlan Barnett and a Harlan Barnett coach defense that you didn't know 8 months ago when you hired him?
Coach Barnett got a little something to him, you know. You guys seen him and talked to him, and nicest guy in the world. But it's a different side of him too, right on the football field, and I've been able to witness that out there at practice, and I was able to witness it even more yesterday after practice, and watching him discuss with our defense how disappointed he was in their performance. So that was really nice to see, and again, I think they'll respond big time. But Coach he's done a great job, and I think I mentioned it before. I've been really impressed with just how he has the entire defensive staff and how close those guys are, and how well they all work together. That's been really impressive in this short amount of time. But you can see it trickling down to our team, our defensive guys as well, and seeing how they're starting to work well together.
I was wondering if you could continue on the embracing the suck thing, and maybe that's something that last year's team didn't really do so well at times, but do you feel your team doing that this year, and what are you doing as head coach to help them do that?
That's pretty talented there. You ask a question and have your phone.
It's all in this right here, the sock
cool. Well, I think every moment is a teaching moment, you know, and again, playing and understanding how training camp is, we talk about it. You know, those days are gonna come up. You know, we talk about every night before they go to bed on what the next day is gonna be like, and but you got to enjoy it. And we also talk about how many other people would love to be in their position, and for them to appreciate what they have and appreciate being with one another and appreciate coming together. You know, I think as we play this year, we talk about having a pack mentality, and that's when it comes, when there's nothing else to do and you're around your teammates every single day, and you got to be out in the hot sun and conditioning, and there's nothing else. Meetings, that's not always fun. It sucks, but you got to embrace it and try to enjoy it. You know, but more importantly, you got to enjoyed competing and getting better, and I think that's what's helped us throughout this training camp is our guys enjoy competing. Whenever there's a competition situation, again, you don't have to motivate them, and it's been fun to go through training camp where I don't have to come out and get on our guys about practicing. You know, they're coming out ready to practice every single day since we've been out here, and that's been really nice.
When we talk about, when you were at South Florida and then coming up to Tallahassee, the more looking into next year recruiting, are you going to get more into Georgia, maybe Alabama more, being at Florida State than you did at USF? Is that one of your things coming in here?
Well, I think it's smart to get in Georgia. I mean, we're kind of in the south part of Georgia, almost there. We're, about 30 minutes away from Georgia, so on the Georgia state line. But, again, we're going to recruit the best football player that fit what we're trying to do. And we know there's a lot of great players in the state of Florida, but there are also great football players in Georgia and Alabama and Louisiana and Texas and California and Ohio, D.C. There's good football players all over the country, and we want to make sure we get the best that can come here and fit what we're trying to do, fit our culture, and want to be a part of what we're trying to build.
Hey, Coach, at your introductory press conference, you dropped the term lethal simplicity. I'm wondering, just as you continue to work with these guys, especially your parts on offense, how have they embraced those concepts and also executed them?
They're a little struggle in the spring, obviously, because it was totally different for what they've been doing before. I think what I've seen throughout training camp is that our guys have worked really hard in the summertime to understand what we're trying to get out of our offense, and then just watching in training camp just how much better our guys are today than they were when we first started. And it's a reason why defense had a bad practice too, because offense was getting better. But I think guys understanding what we're trying to do, not just learning their plays, they understanding what we're trying to do when we call certain plays now, and that's helping. I think simplifying things and not making it to where it's chemistry helps too. Now they can just go play football, and starting to see it, and I'm seeing some of our young guys are making some plays for us too, and I think because of it's been simple and allowing them to do the things that we recruited them to do.
On that note, how did the younger players, I know you've been pleased with them so far in camp, but in a scrimmage situation, how did they handle all of that?
Good. I know on the offense side of the ball, I was really impressed with Trayshawn Harris and Keyshawn Hilton. Both of those guys were pretty fun to watch yesterday, running around, and again, they were having fun. Like kids straight out of high school. No worries, and just give them football and let them go, and they was making plays with every group that they were in. I mean, we put them in with the 3s, the 2s, and the 1s, and they were making plays for us. So that was really nice to see. Our running back Grant, he's very talented. I mean, we loaded, and that kid's special too. You know, he was having a good practice. I thought our offensive line played really well, and that was good to see. Good to see Art Williams is doing some really good things on the offensive line for us too.
When you were at USF, if I remember right, you recruited Kalen Brooks pretty hard. What do you remember about that process, and what did you like about him or think you could project to?
Well, well, you know he had it in his bloodlines, first and foremost, but when you watch him, he's just a tough, hard-nosed football player. He plays defense like he's supposed to. He's physical, and he's smart, you know, and you knew he was going to be a great leader as well. But when you're talking about just flat-out football player, I mean, you don't get many that's better than Kalen, and again, his bloodlines, and again, I'm seeing the things in practice with him, what we thought we would get at South Florida, you know, and he's maturing, and it's been cool to see him come back from his injury and perform the way that he's doing now. And he's a highly competitive kid, which we all expect him to be, and I think being highly competitive and working really hard is going to pay off for him.
Hey, Coach, what stood out to you about Janaris Robinson so far?
He loves to play the game. He loves his teammates. He's, again, highly competitive, and I think he's one of those guys. Everyone talks about Byrne, and he wants to improve him. He wants to prove himself too, you know. But he's a kid that loves being at Florida State, and very talented, and look forward to him helping our football team out tremendously. And I just found out he can play the piano, so pretty neat.
How much is the offensive line, in your opinion, improved from the spring until now? And what kind of job is Coach Fry doing there? What's it been like to watch him coach up close?
I think they've improved tremendously from the spring, and part of it, we got some guys back healthy from the spring too, and but watching a guy like Landon Dickerson, just, you know, I know coming here, I heard a lot about him and how special he can be, and I think he's having one heck of a training camp, and starting to see what everybody else thought as well about the young man. And but he's having a really good training camp. Derek Kelly having a really good training camp. Granddad Eberly, he's having a good training camp, and it's just fun because you see those guys like enjoying being with each other, you know, and taking pride in what they're doing. Jawan Williams having a really good training camp for us, you know. So, but you're seeing consistent play out of these guys, and they're starting to get a little synergy playing together, and that's something we need up front for us.
Coach, every time we ask you about wide receivers, or we ask David Kelly, Keyshawn Helton's name comes up. He's a guy who wasn't really highly recruited by a lot of schools, and I know you guys kind of got him late. How did that recruitment go, and was part of that because of from Derek Brooks, that being his nephew? Did that name pop to you guys from that, or how did that all come about?
No, I was actually out in Pensacola recruiting at another school, and the coach at that school was. He's like, Coach, I'm telling you, you need to go by and just see this kid. You know, this kid he's one of the best receivers we played against this year, and he just kept raving on the kid. And then before I left, he was like, you know what, Coach, I probably just need to show you. And we put up the film, and I watched the film and said, you know what, I need to go by and see this young man. And sure enough, went by and met him and spent time with the principal, and she raved about him, his character. He was awesome in the classroom. And then I found out he was Derek Brooks' nephew, and it was like, okay. You kind of see it in the way he plays too. Another kid that plays the game the way you're supposed to play the game, but he also had a little attitude about himself, and he had something to prove. And I love that about the young man, and that hadn't changed since he's been here. You know, he's been on a mission since day one, and he's out to prove himself, and he's doing a darn good job of proving himself.
You still surprised that a guy like that goes under the radar? It still happens in this day and age with all the camps and the recruiting services?
I'm never surprised by anything, you know. Those things just happen, but that's a big reason why you recruit, and you try not to leave any rock unturned. You know, you gotta go. But then when you have good relationships with coaches that you trust, sometimes those things happen too, where they'll put you on someone that maybe been overlooked. You know, so but Keyshawn fits what we're doing too, so that helps as well.
Coach, obviously there's a fine line between getting your guys in football shape and pushing them past the limit. How have you seen strength and conditioning change over the years? What's your philosophy on strength and conditioning? And do you think the NCAA needs to have more oversight on how schools train their athletes?
I think student welfare is first and foremost, and that can never change. We always got to do what's right for our student athletes, and I think there's rules in place to make sure that those things are taken care of. We just got to make sure we abide by the rules and make sure that, I know here, whatever our trainers tell us, that's what we do. You know, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You know, so we're going to always do what's right for our young men and all of our student athletes. And I don't know whether the NCAA should be in charge. I can't tell you that. That's not my expertise. But I do know there's trainers out there that do their jobs, and we got to allow them to do their jobs. And we do that here. So hope that answers your question, Matt.
We've got time for a couple more.
I was just curious about Cole Minshew's status. When we were in Bradenton, he was a little banged up.
Yeah, Cole had a little ankle injury. He's rehabbing to get back. Hopefully we get him back this week and get going. I had to give him, big guy, a couple of days off. But hopefully he'll be back this week.
Moving Deontay Sheffield over to wide receiver, what are some of the challenges that come with that, and how do you think he's responded to that so far?
I think part of it is just learning to run routes and catching the football. You know, it's something you got to be able to do. And you know, he played running back, and good to be able to catch the football playing running back. But receivers, you're gonna be asked to do that all the time, and also block as well out in space. So I think those are all the challenges. But usually, when you're a pretty good athlete, you can learn it, especially if you've been taught well. And he's picked it up. He's picked it up, and he's competing with the other guys at that position.
All right, Gary's the last one on Florida.
Coach, has DJ Matthews built on his spring, continue to progress, and have you kind of given up trying to put any more weight on him? I noticed the weight change, and he's like gained 1 pound. You know, is you just resigned to the fact he's going to be the littlest guy you got?
DJ's actually, he hadn't practiced training camp so far. I mean, he's been doing some individual drills and things. He had a back injury. He'll be back this week to practice more. He's like I say, done individual and stuff. From a weight gaining standpoint, I think it is what it is. You know, DJ's going to be what DJ is right now, and he's working. I will say this, he's working to try. Probably need to eat a little more than what he's eating, but he's working hard in the weight room. Some people, it just don't work right for. I was one of those people that couldn't gain any weight either. You know, so as long as he's tough and he's smart and don't get tackled, then you don't have to worry about it. You know, he's pretty fast too, so that helps.
All right,
thank you all very much. Have a great rest of the day. If you want to.